Hi, my YouTube subscribers. It's Teacher Party, bringing you the insight on ethics. This is catering for the FET phase, and also the tertiary students that I have. You will always have an ethics question, even in professional exams like PSYCHA, CYPA, and CIMA, ACCA. You will always have ethics exams. If not, you've noticed that if you're doing EMS, they've started introducing ethics at grade 8, 9, 10, all through the FET phases. So at some grades, this is not examinable. At some grades, this is examinable. But I want you, if you're doing EMS accounting or commercial degree or professional membership, I would just like you to know ethics, because many problems we have in the accounting and the auditing profession, they border at the topic on ethics, because there's so much the business world has managed to get away with because they only focused on legal matters rather than ethical matters, because something can be illegal, but then it can be unethical. So you can hire a disabled person. It's legal to hire a disabled person in South Africa for a role that you as a business know it can never grow. These people will always stay in this role, but you just need them for BEE points. You see, it's legal. You can hire a person and give them a role. It's not within a company to ensure a person gets promoted, even if there are labor laws promoting that. But sometimes a disabled person can just be hired for BE points. Well, that is unethical, even though it can never be a legal battle, because no one can prove you are only hired for BE points and not for career growth. That is very difficult to prove. But I'm just trying to make you understand that ethics, there's a very interesting dynamic about it, that sometimes you won't be ethical as a business. It doesn't mean you'll end up in the court of law. But sometimes, because businesses can get away with so much of this, and then one day it replicates to a legal battle, then that's where now you start reading in the newspapers that, oh, this matter actually, they used to get away with it up until it became a legal issue. So ethics are very important. They speak to the culture of the business. They speak to the way business wants to carry itself within the corporate society, in terms of conscience, in terms of fairness, in terms of being a responsible corporate citizen. So it has so much to do with the positioning and the branding of the business. So what is ethics? So here I just put in, actually, this is what I found on the internet, and it just resonates with what I wanted to talk about. It summarizes it very well. Um, this mind map talks about responsibility, trust, behavior, principles, relationship, choice, reliability, and morality. So whoever did this mind map actually nailed the ethics, because it's just not limited to what is right versus to what is wrong. It speaks to many aspects: your morality, your responsibility, reliability, choices the business makes, the relationship the business has with its internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. So I just adapted um, a definition from Peter F. Drucker. It says um, business ethics is the collective conscious of a business. So I couldn't I couldn't have found anything that summarizes this better. I mean, Peter Drucker did justice in summarizing this, because there's many definitions there: long, short, average. But I just wanted something that summarizes the previous slide, that is a collective of conscious. Because if you're looking at the previous slide, morality, responsibility, trust, it speaks to the conscious. We all know, because businesses don't run themselves. The people appointed to run the business have got conscience. they know what is the right behavior, what is the right relationship to have with stakeholders, what is the morality. So ethics is the collective of business conscious. So why do we need business ethics? By the way, I like cartoons. I really love them. So anything that has to do with me, I have to put in some cartoon pics, obviously found in the internet. So why do we need business ethics? First of all, to understand and focus on critical relationships. So a business doesn't exist in isolation. There's stakeholder relationships, there's customer relations, there's corporate social responsibility, there's supply chain relations. In all these relationships, the business has to have a conscious, the business has to have right morality. If I can take an example on customer relations, some things are not regulated in pricing. There is, well, medication, some of it is regulated in pricing. Basic goods, some of it is regulated in pricing. But there are many products and items that are not regulated in pricing. So a business can decide what they will charge for the particular item. But sometimes businesses can charge exorbitant prices. They can charge exorbitant prices because it makes profit for them. You can't really pick war against them if that item is not regulated as to how to price it. But does it make it fair that businesses charge exorbitant prices for certain items that should have been affordable to the general public? It's not fair. But now that's where the morality kicks in more than the legality, because if an item is not regulated in terms of price, a business can do what they want. But if a business has conscience, then they will know that this is overcharging the general public. So this is where these relationships kick in: customer relations, good customer relations, protecting the interest of the customer, giving access to the customer within a reasonable price and all. So the other reason we need business ethics is to understand societal and business rules of misconduct. So some of these, there's an interesting merging of ethics and law sometimes. There are business rules, and there are rules that explain this can be done, this cannot be done in clear writing, especially if you look at King Code, the King Report, the Companies Act, the labor laws, the environmental laws. Those are rules that specify what can be done, and they specify the rules of misconduct. So sometimes, or many a times, ethics can be developed from a point of knowing what is a misconduct and how we can avoid it and how we can run our operations in an ethical way. Some of the ethics reports businesses have, some are embedded on the different laws in South Africa and international laws that affect the industry the business is operating in. For example, green laws. You will find that a business now is paperless. A business is using less energy, and they'll be posing that as an ethical way of doing business. But it's sometimes clearly embedded on the laws of environmental pollution, green gas emissions, and all that. So ethics also help to understand the societal and the business rules of misconduct. And also the most important thing, ethics encourage the right behavior. It wants to delete the notion that what is important in a business world, it is what is legal. Anything else is not important. So ethics, they always drill the right way of doing things, the right behavior, and all. So what are the ethical principles? Honesty. So this actually, the business has to abide with these before I just mentioned them. But they speak so much to what the business leadership should practice and what the business leadership should instill to their staff or subordinates. So that is honesty, fairness, leadership, integrity, compassion, respect, responsibility, loyalty, law abiding, accountability, transparency. Okay. So how do we apply business ethics? Or how can people, what is a tangible way to ensure that business ethics are shared across the organization? So communicate transparency, in ethical expectations. So people must know what is expected. What are the ethical expectations within the organization they work in or the organization they're leading? So it is the prerogative of the board and the social and ethics committee to communicate what ethical expectation uh, that the organization has on its subordinates and all. And also, it is the manager's interest to train people on ethics, to run workshops, or the HR department to run workshops on ethics, or the social and ethics committee to run a workshop on the ethics for the organization, of course. Create structures that monitor good and bad behaviors within the business. So there could be staff forums that are created and they're given the responsibility to have that monitor for the ethics monitor or the ethics tracker. So you can delegate that as a business um, to the staff forum or have some mini committee that just deals with that, because it makes good sense whenever there's integrated reporting at year end. It makes good sense to have an overview of the work that the social and ethics committee does. If you look at the integrated reports for GSE listed companies, there is that little bit, even if it's a corner in a page that talks about what the committee has done successfully. Sorry about that. I think I'm having flu. I'm positive it's not COVID. It's because of the rain. So if you hear me trying to breathe and yeah, and making that funny sound with my nose, yeah, it's the flu trying to get hold of me. Okay, so resources to help you master ethics. So students, King Report. I said the easy way to go through King Report is to convert it into an audio and then listen to it. So the King Report will help you so much with the expectations of the social and ethics committee. What is ethical or unethical in terms of board management, board appointments? All those you will find in the King Report, and you'll also find work on what is right or wrong in the Companies Act. So the Companies Act will tell you how a board appointment should be done and how to issue shares and all that. It tells you the right way of doing something, the legal way of doing something. So you already know the opposite of that is illegal or unethical. So it will help you to be grounded in the Companies Act. Also, Google Business Ethics PDF. You will find a book. Let me try and find this book for you. Yeah, you see, if you Google PDF, you just write business ethics PDF, you'll find this book. It's free online. It has got good business um, ethics material, practical examples. Please Google this book. It's called Business Ethics. It's I think it's OpenStax or something. Okay, my slides are starting. Okay. Please Google that book. Just type in Business Ethics PDF. It will give you that book, and then just download it and also convert it into an audio file and listen. Also, go to Google News and then Google Business Ethics. It's gonna give you many companies that are trying to do this thing right, their findings, their observations. Also, Google just with the word unethical, it's going to give you all the corporate scandals that you can find on the internet, and it's going to improve your understanding. Um, so read good business reports like Forbes, MoneyWeb, Business Day. You'll find articles that talk about business ethics, those that have failed in it, those that have excelled in it. Also, if you are in FET, get Consumer. It's a business studies textbook and the answer series, the business and the accounting answer series, they've got a section that deals with ethics and professionalism. It'll expand your knowledge on this. Also go through the past papers for accounting, business studies, SIMA, SAIPA, ACCA, especially the accounting professional bodies and the auditing professional bodies. They always have ample of examples or questions about ethics. And even though sometimes you feel you're not at that level as an FET student or a first-year student at university, but you will get the gist of the matter. So I always encourage my students, even at grade 10, I once gave them a psycho resource to look at and try and attempt to answer the question. It was interesting, the results I got. It was really, really, really interesting. So don't limit yourself according to the grade you are in. Tackle the big giants. Tackle the big giants. Popular questions in ethics, you'll find where they'll ask you, what is your opinion on ethics? Ethics questions are never that objective. They always, even if they are objective, you'll always have to substantiate why you're saying yes or no, why saying this is right or wrong. So in accounting, you always have a question on a business trying to push profits by increasing their prices, then they'll want to know your take on it. Business changing sell by date, people claiming input VAT without corresponding invoices. And that is a very interesting question because it starts being unethical and it ends up being illegal. So nepotism, I think there was a cycle question paper where someone hired, where a CFO hired a cousin to be the audit partner, to be the representative of the audit committee or something, but it was along the reporting structures, the governance structures, where there was nepotism. So you will get those, especially in the professional accounting exams and the audit exams, you will get questions as such. Directors buying assets using company name for personal use, especially on cyber question papers, and also other professional bodies, you will get that, you will come across that, and where they want you to say, is this ethical or not? Also diluting board power by appointing personal friends. We see it happening all the time when the bill starts spilling in the media, where they start investigating the people who are sitting in powerful seats and who they are related to. Uh, Guys, in South Africa, we've seen all of that. Child labor. This is not only unethical, it's also illegal. Gender and racial discrimination. This is not only unethical, it's also illegal. And you will get those questions because in business, you must know, in business and accounting, they will try and pose a situation where it is, sorry about that, where it is making business sense. And I'm not saying I'm condoning that, but I'm just trying to make you understand how will they pose a question where it'll make business sense for them to hire underage children to work in farms, and then they will ask you because it's gonna push, especially on manufacturing. Then they'll try and justify and say it's gonna push the direct labor cost low, so it will improve the break even and all that. And if you are only thinking as an accountant that is a number cruncher, not an accountant with a conscience, you are going to fall into the trap and say this is right. But if you are an accountant that is a conscious morality and all, you start going to look at the perspective of the business is not only there for its own interests. It's also there for societal interests, human protection and all those things. So they can't just exploit any other thing in the name of achieving high profits and satisfying the shareholders. So, guys, I hope this has helped. I really hope this has helped. If you want the slide, just send me an email on moyopatiswa@gmail.com. So it's Moyo, MOYOPHATISWA@gmail.com. Then, yeah, we can take it from there. Goodbye.